There we go. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Korean Starleague. Sometimes I press my record button, and if it's the first time I've recorded in that day, it takes a second for it to get going. I know that's really what you love at the start of the video, so let me just get to the part where we introduce the players. In the Northeast, we have Red Korean Zerg. Not playing under his normal name. It's DRG, Stongray-gu. I did just triple check that before I said the name, just because I was sent the replays by the tournament admin. I got it from the official. The Korean Starleague runs every week. This is number 21. I'm your boy Nate, and the opponent, we've got our yellow Terran player. You know him. He had some great games last week. He's Future. Now, Future had some really good games last week. He was quite competitive. I was very impressed with his micro. He was kind of target firing banelings like some sort of Giga Chad Adonis. Gave me mild Beyond vibes, I'm not gonna lie. And now you can of course all comment that yes, I did just compare the American Terran in the bracket stage to Beyond. Because let's face it, we got to keep the stakes up. We got to raise the stakes. That's what gets us all excited, doesn't it? TvZ, always a fun matchup. We had a couple of options for what we would take a look at here in the bracket. I think everybody loves Terran versus Zerg because it just never really disappoints. You either see people get ripped to pieces by alien bug monsters, or you see the men, the man with the C14 Gauss rifle. I totally knew that. I was just double checking so you could read it. There you go. Take a look at it again. Whether the man with the C14 Gauss rifle wins and destroys the alien monsters. So Future does send the Marines out to try and poke this Overlord, and DRG is able to get those Zerglings into a pretty good spot. Picks off the Marine. The Overlord should be able to make it to this pillar, and I think that's really all you need. So DRG able to get all up in there, and Future is now going to have to deal with this one pesky Zergling. It isn't going to stop the command center. Usually when you see the pull first from the Zerg, that is a big threat, that the Lings will try to swing around the outside, delay your command center. If you do a standard Reaper expand, you can find yourself in an awkward situation because your Reaper arrives at their base, the Lings arrive at yours, and the Reaper can't really do too much typically. You try to do a little bit of poke, a little bit of prod, but good Zerg players will turn their drones into spores, extractors, etc., and they'll have the Queen out front to delay, to buy that time, to give them that position that they need. So it's one of those things that you just have to be conscious of. That's why I love the Marine opener. Really, this whole rant was just to compliment Future on his build order. My dog has walked up to me. He is now forcing his head under my left hand, so if my ability to press the tabs on the upper left of the screen goes away, I want you to know it is because I am petting my golden retriever while I'm casting StarCraft. That's actually the real reason I haven't been on any ESL shows. They got jealous of him sitting in the background there. He was too distracting. It's actually not a joke, by the way. He has tried to climb on me mid-broadcast before. He's very silly. I think he's in a VOD somewhere. He's memorialized in some WCS online group we did. He's a good boy. All right, he's gonna go lie down now because he's a very good boy. And there you go. We made it through the early game. Now things are happening. So Future remembers the Overlord. He says, "Look, I told you I was coming back for you. I told you there was no getting away." Not only does that supply block DRG, he's going to have to queue up a second Overlord now in the production tab. He has Lings. They have speed. They don't have upgrades, but it's not like Future went for some sort of 4-minute, 20-second +1 timing either. I do like the Widowmine kind of zoning away the ramp so he can play up and down. Getting another Overlord is a huge pick-off too. Especially the Queens don't want to extend too far down. You can see the Lings running back into the main. DRG does not want Future to be able to just pick stuff up, go up the elevator, go down, and just be a nuisance. There's not too much to fight for in that main anyway. The main base on Ancient Cistern is just huge. You have so much space. If you get in, you gotta cross like a whole other base worth to even get to the base. So Overlord goes in for the scout. What does he see? Not much. It's just going to be a pretty normal bio setup. Queens do try to come forward to poke down the medevac, and will lose a queen. So far, very good control from Future. I think if you're DRG right now, the biggest thing that you have to be thinking about is why. I just want that mine. Okay, you got the Widow mine. I feel like he's happy. He's happy. That was the big one. If we're establishing a storyline, if we're trying to derive lore from this game, then that Widow mine became personal between the two of them. So I'm kind of happy for him now. He can move on. We can see what other arcs his character has, because you don't want to see somebody get hung up on that for like 3 or 4 seasons. Let's face it. This isn't Riverdale. So Future has a very good bio setup. Only 3 racks. The production's not crazy, but he has been building for quite a while. And maybe the biggest thing to note is that he doesn't have a 3rd command center either. So this is a very committed push on a large map. And while the tanks can use those choke points, while the Marines do have stim, and they're going to have that +1, Combat Shields isn't ready yet. He's got at least 1 field of creep to get through. But I'm a little bit nervous. You kind of expect that maybe the Lings will flood here, the Roaches will be here, and you try to get some sort of surround. But I like that Future actually skips over to the left. He says, there's no way you have units all the way up here in the top left of the map waiting for me. So I think that I can limit the flanks, and that allows him to get the creep. But is he going to just drop into the main base? At the same time, DRG does get some Lings for a counter, picks off a tank in the middle of the map. That's very nice. Future's going to load his Marines up, drop them into the main, sieging the tank at the bottom of the cliff. So not making it as exposed to the Lings, but there are Ravagers that are going to be coming up. Future's trying to save his tank, and he does! Hot medevac pickup. Very well done. I thought DRG had him, but Marines are also at home, ready to defend. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got ourselves an interesting match of StarCraft here, don't we? Very, very exciting times. This is what I was hoping for. This is what I came for. When we pick that TvZ to cast, that's always what you want. You want some good back and forth action, hot pickups, good defense. DRG comfortably ahead in economy. Remember, there's no 3rd command center early on for Future. He's only just now finishing it at 7.5 minutes. That time to recover and build that base has been used by DRG to attempt to secure this 4th. So he held the attack, and this is going to be a very decisive moment. We have 2 Liberators headed towards the top. The rest of the army for Future is coming on the south side. So the Spore, I think, really depends on the angle. There are Queens here, too. So the rest of the army is split up. We've got Lings at the 3rd base of Future. He's kind of just waiting for that. I don't think 4 Ravagers on their own can do it. The rest of the army is going to come down, but without the Roaches being close enough, immediately target fires 3 Ravagers. Is going to take that 4th base and skippity-scop back to his. And now the Liberators in the main, they also did get taken care of. I don't know. We didn't get to see how many kills they had, all right? I'm a bad observer, all right? I'm not here telling you that I'm going to catch everything. I'm just going to catch what I'm capable of, but I do love to see it. So the 3rd floats over. There's a bunch of Lings. Everybody knows OSHA guidelines state you cannot land construction equipment on wildlife, regardless of whether or not it is organic, mechanical, living, dead, friend or foe. So it's just not allowed. It's literally against the law. If you crush Lings with your command center, you go to prison, I think, for like 20 years. It's kind of crazy, but the rules are the rules. +2 coming in now for Future. +1 is about to finish. And at first I thought it was kind of tough going for the single eBay. You don't see it a lot versus Zerg, but the upgrade situation is not that crazy for DRG either. So he ends up at 1-1 versus just +1 Carapace. And I think for Terran, that's great. Big surround coming in. DRG has a full setup with the Roach Ravager to try to get onto this, but there's not really any anti-air. Without the Queens, without Spore Crawlers or Corruptors or Abducts, there's just not that much he can really do to stop the medevacs from flying all over the place. So the only option becomes counterattack towards that 3rd. We do have a couple of tanks supported by several Marauders on the backside going to drop the biles. The spread on the Ravagers just a little bit too much. Ancient Cistern so wide open, the tank's not able to funnel into a choke point, does allow DRG to smash that 3rd base down, but at the same time, the rest of the army will be making its way home, loaded up into the 4 medevacs. Future, I'm not sure that's the spot. The biles almost killed everything. We were about to have We're about to have a TikTok moment right there if he was not more careful. So where are we now? Future has Marines, Marauders, still a couple of tanks. The economy situation we've talked about never really being in his favor, but the tech situation wasn't really in the DRG's favor either. It's very low tech, Zerglings, Banelings, Ravagers. So Future's going to load up 4 medevacs, send them towards the north side, and we are going to have to see if he can split this apart. Of course, there are some creep tumors, so he can see, he knows the army is up here trying to go towards the 5th base that's being secured, and the Marine Marauder can deal with the Lings pretty well. Like, supply-wise, when it comes to supply, they're very, very close. You can trade very well with Bio on that level of supply against a Zerg who's going for Ling, Ravager, Roach. It's only really strong before the Terran gets over that 160 mark, so you need to see that tech follow-up, and as that attack gets routed, there's another huge Bio movement on the south side, so maybe he doesn't have to worry too much about this incoming Viper wave if he can get the push-up onto this expansion. Siege tanks are set up on the low ground, medevac drop heading back towards the main base. Ravagers trying to corner him on the side. 3 Spore Crawlers. He's really trying to deal with these drops as best as he can. Does he know about the Vipers? They are going for the consume inside of the main. That means these tanks, he can't come in and hit them with the Blinding Cloud just yet. Ravagers from the north, Banelings from the east. The Biles are going to be dodged, but loses a little bit of damage running from the zone. However, the Ravagers are exposed. No more Roaches to defend, no more Lings to soak the front. Marauders pick off 2 of them, can just load up and retreat over and over and over again. Future continuing to rally. That parade bio push from the Terran continues to march across the map, and DRG is going to need to swallow the army whole in one big move now that the Vipers are here. Blinding Cloud on the 2 front tanks, Blinding Cloud on the back 2 tanks. Ravagers continuing to bile the bio away, but this tank line runs so deep. He's got 2 more behind even the rest of all of those, and now the rest of the Roaches have died again. The Ravagers find themselves without too much left to defend them, and the next bio wave is going to rally here. Oh, did he just abduct a Zergling? He abducted one of his own Zerglings there. I've never seen that before, sorry. So they trade out completely, except the base is still here, and there's still some Marauders. Not enough energy, I guess, to use the Parasitic Bomb. Yeah, it's hard to kill Marauders that are being healed by medevacs. That's a painful lesson everybody learns one day, tragically. Yeah, he abducted a Zergling that died in midair. I've never seen that before. But that's the issue that we talked about. It's not very supply efficient, this Roach Ravager style. The Parasitic Bomb, I think, is the best move that he can make because that truly forces the army to retreat. The medevacs all basically go on timers as they continue to get hit by that. So you got to go home, repair them, and hopefully get a wave or 2 of Marines out with that. Yeah, 3 Parasitic Bombs. The ability used to stack. Once upon a time, they would all deal damage at once, but now you can only be affected by 1 at a time. So when you use them, you don't want to clump them together. You just spread them out and say, now you have to micro your medevacs away for the next 20 seconds. And that just buys you a little bit of time. So he did a good job defending there. Now we'll have the sensor tower put up. You see he's okay, you're going for a 4th. And Future's going to make another push on that top side, so the transition into getting a few more speed Banes with this. We haven't really had much of an impact from the Banelings in this game. He is trying. But that's the thing. Future just keeps throwing haymaker one after another. And DRG won't die. But DRG's still not... He hasn't been playing for any kind of late game army. It's just this brawler eat the map style. And it's weird to say eat the map because his creep spread's been largely shut down by the endless parade push, but that's what you want. You've got a lot of Lings, Roaches, Banelings. We don't have that transition into Ultralisks. There's no Greater Spire. There's no Hydralisk Den. It's just Roach, Warren, Baneling Nest, Spawning Pool. And of course he has the Infestation Pit to get the Hive for upgrades, but it is so interesting. He just wants to play for full map control and eat this big space with his fast units. He doesn't want to commit to anything that will be slow enough for the bio to run around him. So now DRG's finally able to max out and get across the map for one of the first times in this game, and he is going to absolutely roll over what is left of Future's army. That 3rd Super Toast The base he tried to set up in the top left wasn't bad, but it's just a matter of time and scale. DRG was able to withstand all of these attacks because he didn't invest into that tech. Because he was focused on making sure he had enough units to defend the very aggressive, non-economic style of Future. And I just got to give him credit where credit is due. Snipes another command center. The bio is going to start to surround this. It is a lot of supply. You still don't want to lose all of this. You still really don't want to lose all of this, but at the very least, we know that while he's trying to clean this up, you know, DRG does have a lot of stuff back home. The rest of the links are coming forward. He replenished with 69 Zerglings, comes and gets the surround, and GG is called. Well done. So game 1 goes to DRG. Future clinging to the PF like a man in a storm clinging to a rock. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Reminds me a lot of my favorite SpongeBob episode where they ride the boulder. You know, that was a big one. That was a big one for me. A very big one. All right, let's go into game number 2. I love accidentally randomly zooming in a lot, too. That's also something that I'm big on. All right. Bottom right, Dong Regu. Top left, Future. And it looks like the Future is going to go for one of those handy-dandy natural walls. So you go Supply Depot towards the edge, and then 2 barracks. We've seen a couple of Terrans mix it up, though. Like, it hasn't always been exactly the same. And speaking of not always exactly the same, DRG, game 1, we saw the pool first. Game 1, we saw that pool first come out. He tried to get something done, but Future opened with the Marines. So this time around, it's still going to be gas, then spawning pool. But how are you going to run past this? That opportunity does not really exist. So the Reapers that you can get with this build, he's not taking the gas. Oh my goodness. So what does that mean? What? Is it a fake out? He's going to take a gas, but it's very late. He won't be able to make Reapers. This seems like it's designed to make the Zerg think that you're doing the normal thing that people in this situation do. That's like the impression that I'm being put under. However, I do find myself extremely, extremely interested in the way that he's going about it. Meanwhile, DRG is taking his natural expand. He has started his Zergling speed. He hasn't made a bunch of lings. He hasn't made any lings yet. He's just getting his queen. So that leads me to believe that we're not going to see too many sparks fly early. It's like a fake out build. Like, I'm going to make these Marines in the anticipation that you will think I'm making Reapers, and then I can just kill an Overlord for free. And he should still get this Overlord. I think 2 Marines here should be enough to get it before it reaches the pillar. 3 Marines for sure. So when he gets the gas, does he expand first? Does he go for a factory? Okay, it looks like it's expand. This is what I was hoping for. You definitely do not need to. You definitely don't need to push it in that way. Like, don't try and do something cute 1 base versus DRG, because Future literally just attacked him nonstop the whole game, and he did not care. He just brushed it off. And what's more insane is that he's just sending these Marines across. He's just sending these Marines across the map. He doesn't care. Ling speed's about to finish. There are some Lings on the map. So I mean, I see all these Marines dying. I see all the Marines just getting cleaned up by these Lings pretty quickly here in about a second. So let's see what happens. Speed is done. Comes in for the surround. F's in the chat. And the interesting thing is, despite throwing that away for basically nothing, he still was going into Marines back home. So I don't know. Really, that just makes it so that his follow-up attack will be a little bit weaker. I suppose, how about this? I'll play devil's advocate. Hypothetically speaking, if Future doesn't move out with those 5 Marines and DRG realizes that there's no Reapers coming, Maybe he doesn't make the lings. Maybe he just drones even harder, and instead of 31 to 27, it's, I don't know, 42 to 27. So in that hypothetical scenario, this is a better outcome for Future. I think trading a couple of Marines for, you know, possibly 8 larvae worth of not drones, maybe that is the value proposition here. But, yeah, there you go. There's me making a very convoluted way to try and see both sides. Well, it's both sides of how it's either good or bad for Future. He didn't really talk about it for DRG. Well, I mean, he had links. He had enough to defend. He's not super far ahead economy-wise, but I think that's the story of the first game too, right? Like, what happened in game 1? DRG didn't really get to tech up at all. Is it because he was a dirty cheeser? No, he got attacked, and then the attack literally never stopped. I mean, Future was just, he was punching it. Future was like, he was cashing in and closing out every order. But he kept going, he kept coming back for more, but he closed out every time. It was strange. It was strange. Maybe that's not the analogy. Maybe that doesn't make any sense at all. You can decide for yourselves. There's no medevacs to save these Marines, but he has shown fantastic target fire until that exact moment. So all the Marines will die. And I know that there are people who do this, but this feels like the I want as many Marines to die painfully as possible build. Like, it could work. Maybe he could win the game doing this, but he has to. A lot of bio units need to just get blown up here. And I think this is the smart move from Dong Regu. You recognize that your opponent is, I don't want to say trolling, but they're just being so aggressive with everything. And now the Banes are going to come through. There's the depot opened. I mean, there's a lot of Marines, right? So if he gets the Banes, and he does, there's the target fire coming through. So he actually kills a lot of stuff. He gets quite a few Banelings killed, and all he really traded for it was a depot. Because that tech lab is not, I mean, if you're a bio player, you're not worried about tech labs on your barracks. They build in 20 seconds and cost nothing, so. Now, if he had lost the reactor, well, then there's a little bit of a different story. Maybe next time have the Banes crash here. You could get a little more value. But Future, Nathan, why is Future moving out with nothing but naked Marines? Well, his target fire is pretty good. Marines all die. Nathan, I'm not sure you can defend this with just Marines. Target fires every Baneling perfectly. Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. I know you guys love the observer selection halos when I just click on everything, so don't worry, I got you. I got you, boo. By the way, DRG is only just now getting his lair at the 7-minute mark. So, it doesn't get too much later than that. He's only just now starting his Carapace upgrade. He doesn't have melee because this whole entire game has just been Future's trying to kill me. And I feel like I'm watching some new version of Terran. That's actually what this feels like. You have a Terran player who's not really relying on medevacs at all, but is making things happen in a weird game because they have such a ridiculous amount of Marines and good control. Okay, the medevacs have finally arrived. We've seen 3 full bio armies fight and die before any medevacs were made at all. So there's a big counterattack getting set up by DRG as his 4th base is going to get canceled. There is the creep getting sniped. And how good is the Marine target fire? He's only moving forward with 8 at once and gets 1, 2. He's going to hop back. Is he making Banes here? No. Okay, so he's not going to go for the counterattack to try and win it. Oh, there's another Overlord exposed. DRG actually did get a little bit supply block there for a moment. These lings are going to try and shut down that position. So he was either thinking of building some Banelings and trying to smash into the wall, or he was trying to... Well, now he's taking the 3rd, so he could do something there. I was going to say either that or he was going to attack. He's going to flank him. You know, DRG could have lings come from here, some from here, and then everything else here. But it's in a rather entrenched position. You've got quite a few Marines, 2 tanks. He's moving more lings out to the southwest. The biggest problem about being boxed in like this is you just don't have any creep. So Bane speed, we talk about the lair being late. Bane speed ends up being unbelievably late because of that, and that makes it even harder. So Bane speed finishing, I want to say it should help, but you still need creep. You still need that creep, yeah, and he splits off a large portion of those Banes to go smash into that army. So if he could eat the reinforcements, that'd be nice, but DRG has just been put into an extremely uncomfortable situation this game. Marines are now loading up out of that main base. There's so many Lings and so many Banelings. There's just multiple massive bio armies moving across the map at the same time. He's going to target fire 1, 2, 3. Almost every Bane. Only 3 left. That's just nightmarish. Yeah, he just clicks on every Baneling. Oh my goodness. The rest of his army will get eaten up out on the map, but when you have this many Marines alive with Stim inside of your base as a Zerg and the drones are running, you are in deep trouble. Future coming in with some massive aggression yet again. And to me, what really stands out, smaller map, a little bit of a faster rush path, I think, compared to Ancient Cistern, and Future never takes his foot off the pedal. An amazing game, too, to tie things up. Like, that's... I really don't feel like you can ask for too much more than that. The target fire on the Banelings was just so good. And now we go to Game 3. I mean, Game 3 in this matchup seems pretty awesome, so I'm not gonna complain there. I'm not complaining there at all. Let's just get to it. Let's just get to it, ladies and gentlemen. It's tied 1-1 here in the Korean Starleague between DRG and Future. So Future, he's been playing pretty well in these KSLs. This is another reason why I like this tournament existing. Give people more opportunities to play against top-level talent, put that prize money out there for them to compete for, and it just keeps it so good. It just keeps it so good. We've seen several of the American players actually starting to do a little bit better against the Koreans after 20 of these events. And to me, that's inspirational. I think Future had a nice upset against one of the Koreans. I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. Estrella as well. The Korean Starleague, of course, a weekly tournament put on to help supplement the income of professional StarCraft players in the Korean region, and also to develop new players that want to compete in online events. This time around, Future's not building his stuff at the front of the wall, though. Looks like it's going to be a standard Reaper expand from the Terran. And if we're talking about interesting things on the Zerg side, well, there is no gas. We did have that gas cancel. Sometimes, I mean, he went gas pool before hatch the last game. So I would not have been surprised if that gas was going to be a real thing, but instead it turns into the most macro normal game that we've had this whole series. And everybody watching was very upset. They wanted proxy Marines versus proxy hatchery. They didn't realize that that would just, that would break everything. The writers can only allow that to happen so many times. So Queens are on the way. 8 Zerglings is the number. In Game 1, I think it was 4 Lings that he tried to send around the side. And I think in Game 2, he didn't make any Lings. He didn't make any Zerglings last game. So this time around, he goes up to 8. He's going to crank it up all the way. This is the scenario we were discussing earlier. The Reaper will cross. It won't see the Lings. And the command center is only halfway done. There's 1 Marine. He's going to build a second, but there's no bunker. So if the Lings get up here, they could, if they get the SCV, delay the command center. They can end up being really, really annoying. And that can be a really tough thing to deal with. I don't think it's necessarily going to happen this game, just because it's not like a pull first kind of strategy. But maybe he'll have to pull SCVs to deal with this, for sure. I don't think he gets the cancel, though, is what I meant to say. That's what I was trying to clarify. The Lings are annoying for sure, but he just delays the base. And sometimes that's all the Zerg player wants. They're not always trying to get the cancel. The cancel is your opponent went for a reactor and then doesn't have anything. If your opponent doesn't have any Marines, then it's oh, okay. Well, That's absolutely brutal. We're getting to the level of yikes. So 2 SCVs killed, couple Marines. The Reaper is dead too. The Future will begin his Hellion production with a little bit of a battered and bruised natural. Do you guys remember the comment I made last game about 27 workers to 32, was it? And now we're at 33 to 24. So you can already see the gap is a little bit wider compared to game 2. And he can more comfortably get that drone count up, so... Given the way that this series has panned out, it's definitely a much nicer spot to start off in for DRG. Future, he's like the 2 base, the big bio pushes, not really focusing as much on anything late game, not playing for ghosts or anything like that. No liberators, no. Nothing really other than just Marines, I'd say, is the way to describe this whole entire series. Future basically has been in a hyperbolic time chamber practicing Baneling Snipe Micro. He's just been in a hyperbolic time chamber practicing Baneling Snipe Micro. So now DRG says, we're not gonna play that game anymore. I've got a fast lair. I'm heading into Roach speed very quickly. And there's a lot of ways that you can take this. If you get Overlord speed, you could do a drop. If you get, I don't know. Yeah, okay, there it is. Pneumaticized carapace. Pneumatized. Pronunciation is difficult. The Pneumatized Carpaccio. That's what that says, right? Platonic Carpaccio, I think, yeah. Sorry, oh, whoops, actually, that's just my wallet seed phrase. Future also had a Banshee poking. As you can see, it has lost about a third of its health and killed nothing, so standard affair for Banshees in this matchup. 3 Dropper Lords on the way. Okay, you'll love to see this. Look, first it's comical when they're slow, then it's hilarious when they're fast, then it's even more hilarious when they fly right over the Hellions. So Future is about to, is he though? Is he though? Oh, Future's like, what the hell is that? Oh boy. Well, if you're DRG, now there's no option. You just have to gun it. You just gotta go. What's here to defend this? He's starting a bunker. The natural is kinda walled off. Just turn into a planetary, bro. Trust me, nothing bad could possibly come from that. I do like that he has the safety Banshees, because those can stop the roaches at the front, but we're about to have 4 queens dropped into his base. I mean, this is going to turn into the nastiest game of chess all time. They are not supposed to be able to move like this. Oh, they're the overlords. They're spreading in the base, too. Oh, it's disgusting. The tank spawned in the corner. It immediately died. SCVs are coming off to fight more roaches coming up the ramp. DRG is here for blood. He wants that delicious dove, and I'm not going to lie. This is cinematic. Put it on the box art, ladies and gentlemen. Put it on the box art. You imagine you're just a little Dead Space guy. You got aliens pooping all over you. You're trying to fusion cutter some giant beast in your base, and you're just getting spit on by monsters, giant crab monsters, and you're dissolving into emulsified person. Yeah, I know, bro. So the Banshees can't die to these units because they are ground units. And eventually, through all of this, Future did kill them. But bro, you have 3 SCVs to 69 drones. What exactly is it? Oh, what the, come on, he hits him with the contamination? He just ended this man's whole career. He's got 8 SCVs and he can't even make more. Oof.